everyone. I have chose to make this video today discussing the topic of gender. To start us off, I took the Ben Sex Role Inventory Test. This was something that I've never heard of before, so I was interested to see what it was all about. With this test, it asks you about 40 or so questions regarding what we like, and then also some of our personality traits and what our personality is like. And then at the end of the questions, it gives you the analysis of what it came up with. For example, so for my results, I got 93 masculinity and I got 99 femininity. To me, that happens to be pretty accurate, just from the person that I am and the person that I have been. With certain things, I tend to be very girly, and then with others, I tend to be manly at times. For example, I love shopping. I love makeup, even though I don't have any on right now. I love purses and shoes and jewelry and just anything girly. I love it. But then, on the other hand, I love sports. I love beer. I have a horrible foul mouth. So to me, that's more masculine than I should be, I should say, being that I am female. This was definitely a fun exercise to do, but it does help you learn a little bit more about yourself almost. I think the role of gender has changed so much in the recent couple of decades though. Before, women were not able to work, had to stay home, take care of the family and children, and just dependent on their husband. But nowadays, women are the breadwinners at times, and most of the women work versus staying home now. It's like completely opposite than when it was in, let's say, the 1920s. I do not think that the test is an adequate measure of gender, though. I do think it was fun, however, and definitely fun to see your results. I don't think it can be all that accurate for everyone. I think one of the values of this scale can be to remind everyone that we are all feminine and masculine in certain areas. That we are more similar than we are alike, or we are more similar than we are, let's say, opposite. I do not believe that gender should be looked at something totally opposite from one another. I think males and females are more alike than they are different. I think that to society, gender also has to do with how you look. Not saying I agree with it, but to them, a woman should have long hair, a woman should be pretty, a woman tends to wear makeup, and so on and so on. A man is supposed to be handy around the house, is supposed to wear looser fitting jeans than the female. A male is supposed to have muscles, supposed to be dirty, that type of stuff. Just because that is what society makes us think does not make it right. I think no matter if you are male or female, you should be able to do whatever you would like. Unfortunately, with the society that we do live in, most of the time it is frowned upon to do things that are supposed to be done by the opposite sex. However, scientifically, males and females share 45 chromosomes. And then to just keep in mind, we only have 46. So it's just a little interesting when you see numbers like that and you really do realize we are so similar, and the only chromosome that is different determines our sex. I personally do not find it okay to measure gender, just my personal opinion. I think that when you ask someone to do gender testing, that can be a complete shot to their ego. And I would never want to make someone feel uncomfortable about themselves. I think that with society that we live in now, We should be able to accept anyone, no matter what they look like or what their preferences are. I think that if there has to be one time where gender should be looked at, if I had to pick something, I think it would be sports, because I don't think it would matter in any other arena besides competition. I think it can be completely unfair to a group of women, let's say, who compete against someone that is more masculine than they are just due to genetics. But in retrospect, I think that a more feminine man, let's say, might get hurt easier because he's not as masculine and he's more feminine. So I think it can go both ways. I think either way it's just a little tricky to deal with as well. However, the tricky part has to do with where or how to place them. Like, what do you do? Like, for example, do you take a masculine woman and put her with the males because you feel that it's unfair to the female group of athletes? Or is that something that shouldn't be done because now she will have the disadvantage being that she is competing against men that are, let's say, completely males? So is that fair or is it not? It's sort of like a catch-22 almost. I'm glad that I'm not someone that would have to make that decision, because how do you make that determination on someone's passion? If they run track and they're amazing at it, that means that they like to do it. So therefore, do you take it away from them because you don't know where to place them? Or do you place them in a category that's not fair to the competitors? Or do you place them in a category where it's not fair to the competitee, you know? And then at the end of the day, you never want to hurt someone's spirit. I feel it's like telling the male or female they were born incorrectly or something's wrong with them, that they're different and they don't fit anywhere. I'm assuming that gender identity is something that would have to be dealt with, but just from the stories that I've seen, they all have different ways of going about the issue. I think if having gender identity issues is really going to impact a sport, or all of sports, then I think the head of every sport organization should get together and see how they would want to handle the situation. I do not think it's fair that there have been different outcomes but have had the same situation. I think it should be completely black and white. I think that there should be no question from anyone. The rules are the rules. I do also think this can also have some legal issues tied to it. I think that if gender issues are something that needs to be written in stone, that a bunch of lawyers might want to get together and make sure that it is all ethical, where an organization doesn't set themselves up to get sued by this particular person. I think that gender will always be an issue for years to come. I think this will be the case because there will always be one person who is intolerable to differences instead of loving everyone and treating them as equals. Thank you for watching.